Welcome back to Fairy Tail Anime Review, episode 51. This one I'm reviewing the 319th episode of the anime, Compassion. This pretty much is after from chapters 527 and 528. Yep, and pretty much with this episode, there's only about, get this, there's only like 9 more episodes left to go for the entire series. Yep, there's like 3 different things, like probably 4 different plots going on here. 3 battles and a conversation. That's what happens in this episode. First, let's talk about there's fights. You have Natsu versus Zeref. You have Kana and Gildarts versus August. And the other one is basically the whole thing with Agalogia, Wendy, and Urza. And of course the stuff with Mavis, Lucy, Gray, and Happy. Let's first start with the fight that actually concludes with this episode, which is the Kana and Gildarts versus August. Yep, pretty much, well, Gildarts hits him with a big punch, and that looks like it defeats him. But nope, then he activates a particular spell that basically almost vaporizes blood, nearly killing everybody in the whole country, until he sees somebody. Of course, Mavis notices too. Mavis does not know that August is her son. She doesn't know it at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think even August knows that's his mother. I think he does know Mavis is his mother, but Mavis doesn't know that August is her son. He sees her, and then he cancels the spell, and then he disintegrates. Wow, very anticlimactic. As well as with Mavis, she talks to Gray, Lucy, and Happy, tell them to keep people away from the guild hall. And she also reveals apparently the Alvarez Empire's forces are decimated, and a lot of the fighting is being held south of the town. Okay. Oh, all right. And of course, well, we have one of the, how do you pronounce this guy's name? Larcade, yeah. Larcade, basically, well, it's revealed that apparently he's from the Book of Zeref, and basically Zeref vaporizes him. Says he has no kids, even though he does have one, and he just died. So basically in this episode, 2 members of the Spriggan 12 died. One got killed by Zeref himself, the other one committed suicide by seeing his mother, who's shorter than he is, and has parents a much younger woman. Of course, Natsu gets angry and proceeds to beat the living crap out of frickin' Zeref. Also, it's revealed in May's conversation with Lucy, Gray, and Happy that she got her hands on the book END, which I'm kind of like, how the heck did she get her hands on that book? Now, I get where the hole in the book came from. Zeref did that himself. As for how she got her hands on the book itself, she must have found it lying around the guild hall when Zeref was basically put there. Now, as for what goes on with Agalogia, Wendy, and Urza, yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a recap, basically, from last episode, where he just falls out of the sky, flies there, lands right in front of them, and he walks over to Irene's corpse and basically stops, basically desecrating the corpse. This goes on for a little while. Urza basically tells him, stop doing that, and he asks, why should I stop doing it? And of course, then he smells of it, because he's a Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayers have got sense of smell. Like, why do you smell like her? And of course, Urza does not tell him that it's actually her mother's corpse. And he's about to attack her, and then Jalal pops up out of nowhere. Yes, freaking Jalal. Yep, he pops. I'm not sure. Like, apparently, and you also see this shadow of this thing flying to where Urza, Wendy, and Agalogia are. And of course, they kind of figure out based on his magic, and of course, Wendy, because of her smell, that this is Agalogia. Well, it's human form anyway. They don't say it's human form, despite the fact that it is. And of course, Jalal launches a bunch of light blade attacks against him, and they just pretty much, and then Agalogia just eats all the magic, and Wendy asks, what the heck is this element? And he says, element. I have no element. Basically, he says, I'm Agalogia, the Apocalypse Dragon. That's pretty much what he says, and Urza points out that we barely survived fighting him at Tenor Island, which is true despite the fact that he showed up in the Tartarus arc. Yes, did she completely forgot about that? Maybe she didn't see him. It's possible. She probably didn't see him there because he was busy fighting Igneo, Natsu's adoptive father. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do know that in the current arc, Igneo's biological son show up in there, who apparently turns a human now for some reason. I don't know why. And then, of course, Agna Logia turns into a dragon form, and he's about to attack, and then Wendy basically goes to her Dragon Force mode, is about to attack him, and then all of a sudden, a big ship comes and crashes right into Agna Logia. What is the ship? The Magic Bomber, the Christine, which has got a bit of an upgrade. And I thought this thing was destroyed, and yet now it's rebuilt. Yep, completely rebuilt. And you have Ichio on board, and he says, "Oh, hi, Wendy." Urza, "Man." Yeah, he always ends every single sentence he says with "man" a lot. And I'm thinking, though, why doesn't Urza take her mother's dead body with her? I guess they probably didn't feel like taking her at all. I guess they completely forgot about that because apparently the series completely forgot about her mother's corpse being there. I mean, that would have been nice to take it with her because, well, that's her mother. But here's kind of the thing. Acting along a desecrated corpse is the last time you see anything deal with Irene. Because after this, from when I looked up online, and when I remember barely reading, it's been a while since I read this particular arc, Irene is never even mentioned or seen ever again for the rest of the series. That's technically her last appearance. Because she didn't show up after that. Yep, in case you're wondering how many chapters left to go for this particular arc because of this episode, there is like, I think it's 17 chapters. Yep. And they're on board to get to this guy, and then Ichigo introduces him to a woman who, you don't see her face, but I'm not going to reveal who this woman is because they reveal who this woman is in next week's episode. Well, in the teaser anyways. Someone who looks like Lucy. But I'll reveal that in next week's episode. This episode was a really good episode, and we're getting to the end of this particular series. And it's something, though, even though that Todd Epicorian basically said in the article he wants the adaptation of the Century Quest arc for the series. Yes, the guy who voices Natsu in the dub wants the adaptation of the sequel series. I personally love to see it. Yes. It's something, though, that stuff I mentioned to him somehow he brings up later. Like, I brought up to him about the series Akame Gotta Kill, and then later I see him in a Watch Mojo list, and he talks about the top 10 30th women, and he mentions a woman from Akame Gotta Kill, despite the fact he apparently never heard of the series before, and yet the Watch Mojo list apparently gave info about the series. Yep. And I mentioned about the Century Quest series, and then later on he just mentions it in an article. I mean, he knew about the series, but never suspected about the whole thing being a sequel. Yeah, it's weird, though, that just happened by sheer coincidence. That I talked to him about something, and then he brings up something later. It's particularly a little bizarre when it comes to Todd Epicorian, and whenever I speak to him about anything. But I hope to see him again next time I go to Comic-Con. But the one person who does the dub for the series I really always wanted to meet, because I've already met Christopher Sabat, the guy who voices Elpin, who's actually not in this episode, is Colleen Clickman. I've always wanted to meet her, because I've been watching her stuff with her in it for the past couple of years, and I would love to meet her. But the thing is, she has not come to any cons I've gone to yet, that I go to. Yeah, I haven't seen her at all. I mean, I've never met Lucia Chris, the one who voices Lucy, or anybody else for this particular series. Just Todd and Chris. That's it. Only two people who do the dub for the series. I've met other dub actors. I've met Kyle Herbert, who actually doesn't voice any of the characters in the series I can think of. I've met Christina V. And, of course, the actors who voices Naruto himself. Yeah, overall, basically about 5 dub actors. I haven't met anybody else. Nope, I haven't. I kind of wish I want to meet more in the future. But it all depends exactly, like, if, in fact, any voice actor shows up at a future Comic-Con. Though the Atlanta Comic-Con hasn't had any dub actors I've seen. The only celebrity actor, actually, the only celebrity person I've had there is basically Michael Kappa, which I saw him at this recent Comic-Con. Yep. Yeah. And the thing with myself and Todd Epicorian is that apparently both of our favorite character he's voiced is the same person, Natsu. He's my personal favorite character. He is voiced, and apparently it's also his favorite character too. Isn't that interesting? Yep. Yeah, but nothing else I can say about this episode of Fairy Tail is really good. Okay? So, that's it for this particular review. I have no other videos planned for today. Tomorrow, I probably will have at least 2 videos planned. One reviewing the newest chapter 7, which apparently new chapter came out last week. And I'm also going to review the newest chapter, Boruto. Yes, I'll review that tomorrow, okay? But see you next view. Bye.